Hi Pisces, welcome to your mid-June 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. All right. Let's see. It's funny, I was just thinking I'm going to pick one more card just for the heck of it. I was just thinking about how I've gotten a bunch of swords lately, but which means a lot of communication. We're having, the sun is in Gemini, so it's that air sign. So that is about chatting, being very chatty. And that's associated with swords. And so you're coming off of that lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, the aftermath of that. And that was in Sagittarius for you. So that was either the 10th or the 9th houses for Pisces, I'm thinking. And, what has that changed in your life, if anything? Maybe it hasn't changed much of anything, or potentially in the future. The heart of the matter is the King of Swords. This is a card of somebody who is really kind of removed from their feelings, and there may be a reason for that. I always think of this person having to deliberate about something. This can actually be a judge, if you will. So if you're awaiting a decision about something, but if this is an aspect of you, being a water sign, this is uncharacteristic. This can be when you have mixed feelings about something and you just don't want to be swayed by your emotions for once, because you have to make an important decision. And we have in the past position the Devil card. So perhaps this is like a divorce, and you're getting divorced from a narcissistic personality, and you're getting away from them, distancing yourself from them after time, maybe going back and forth. With the Venus retrograde that we're having right now, this person may have already reemerged, and you've already had to deal with, or maybe in the near future, that you'll see their true colors, but you already knew their true colors. It's just that the intoxication of reunion, the idea of reunion, made you think that this time it was going to be different. So I'm thinking that you've been back and forth, because the King of Swords had to get there somehow. He didn't just become this very, I don't want to say unsympathetic character, but somebody who is not going to listen to any kind of smooth talk or explanations, excuses, and so on and so forth, because you tend, Pisces, to be a very soft touch. And this is the kind of person who knows how to push those buttons, get you to, soften, even after they have pulled their latest stunt. Sometimes, this can be a situation where you're trying to get your life together, because the Devil card is about the pleasures of the flesh, the indulgence, maybe even addictions, and you may have allowed yourself up. Pisces is a very fantasy-oriented sign, very creative and spiritual, but sometimes kind of like attracted to that escapism that those things can provide. And you realize you have to be tough on yourself. So that could be the King of Swords too, you being tough on yourself. when we look at the spiritual message or the bigger picture, we have the Queen of Swords. So here's another Swords card with the court cards. What is the difference between the King and the Queen of Swords? Now, I remember reading somewhere where they said that the court cards are actual people. And so we read them, we read the genders as they are and all that stuff. I go along with that up to a point, but because it's a general reading, I do try to keep it more open-ended. The difference is that the Queen is, because it does have a bit of the feminine principle, it's going to be that you're acknowledging your feelings. You're not like divorcing yourself from them. So it's possible that this person, you know, the King of Swords, is a person that you're dealing with. Maybe you're dealing with a Pisces, and you have been trying to get through to them, and you have to be like the Queen of Swords, and you have to make that decision that, you know, you're looking at those feelings. You're not like shoving them away, but you're seeing how this person's behavior is, you know, tearing you apart. Because, yeah, I mean, I didn't think about doing that at first, but the King of Swords and the Devil card may be the same person. By the way, the Devil card connects to Capricorn, so, you know, that might be the actual sun sign of that individual. But the swords themselves connect with air signs. So we're talking about Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Perhaps it's a moon sign for that person. Maybe they have Capricorn sun and Aquarius moon. And both air and earth signs are very detached. And for a water sign person, this sometimes can be upsetting to you because you may misinterpret their behavior as uncaring. However, with the King of Swords, if this is another person, they may be somebody who is really just thinking about themselves. And, you know, the other thing too is that the King and the Queen can be the father and the mother. And what this can mean too is that if you are in a relationship with somebody that you share a child, you may be interacting with these outer roles. So you're not really being genuine in your interactions with this person. You're simply playing a part. And this is kind of an interesting thing that happens because when people get into those roles, it's like they forget that they are more than those roles. And, you know, I think like I really got into this idea by watching an Eckhart Tolle video. And he was talking about a lecture, you know, and he was talking about how sometimes parents relate to their children that way, where they just are in this position as the authority figure, and there's not that kind of humanity that's present there. It's like it's almost like that ego gratification, the power trip and all that, but it's not really a genuine interaction. And it's almost more like, you know, when your boss kind of interacts with the employee, it can't be really genuine unless maybe they have a relationship outside of work, because that's just the nature of the relationship. And I think that that's more appropriate for that type of relationship. But when you're dealing with people intimately, you know, you expect more from that relationship. So maybe you're, the Devil card, regardless, can be materialism, it can be lust, addiction, and things like that. And it can also be that you have these people, and maybe you're part of this, where you're not really feeling your feelings because you're so embroiled in this relationship that is not healthy, is not good for you. What crosses you is the Ace of Cups. So that kind of indicates perhaps this marriage of convenience. But if you have met somebody, there's not that room for love. The Ace of Cups can even be a child. So conceiving a child in that circumstance may be something that is ill-advised or not even an option, because you're just not connected that way. And even if you try to have a child, you might not even succeed. So it's almost like, well, it's funny because I was talking about sharing a child with somebody, and if and I'm talking about not being able to conceive. What I'm really trying to say is that this scenario, even if you do have children together or have recently had a child together, it can show that the child did not help the relationship. As a matter of fact, it exposed the flaws in the relationship. And so perhaps the child was conceived in an attempt to make the relationship better. Also, if you are looking for love and you're in a situation where you feel like there's somebody that you're interested in, but you're still in a primary relationship where you feel stuck, that's something that you have to deal with first, or otherwise it will, you can't really start something new until you finish something that needs to be dealt with. And with the Queen of Swords, you might have to make that decision whether you are feeling like it's a good idea or not. Sometimes people stall, they kind of like postpone it because they just simply, don't want to have to deal with the consequences or the change that is inherent in that. What's coming in is the Nine of Wands, and this is about really being prepared for that kind of that's really what I see when I see the Nine of Wands. It's preparing for another battle. And this is what I'm talking about with the Devil card. If you have been dealing with somebody and maybe they're calling you, and like I said, this might be an ex. They're calling you and you can't really get a current relationship started. This is one of the things that people, I think, sometimes experience, is that they move on from a narcissist. They're starting to get their life together. They may be starting to date, and then that person shows up. It's like they have this uncanny ability to detect when you are moving on with your life, and that's when they pop up. And it can be maddening because you're like, why is this person here at this time? And so the Nine of Wands as advice is like, if you are kind of trying to get your life together, trying to stop caring about somebody who really wasn't good for you, be advised that they may pop up again. And you have to have your fortress well protected. And then the outcome, and I could have left it here, I just picked a clarification card, is the Seven of Swords, going your own way, but also disengaging from this person in a very clever sort of way. You have to, with these, if this is a narcissist in your life, be able to, find a way not to reject them while you are getting them out of your life, because they act like they're so above it all, and yet they're actually like very wounded people, and when they perceive rejection, that can make them even more, crazy. So the way that you do that is figuring out some excuse or some kind of, you don't have to lie, but something that extricates you from their life. And it can even be a way to kind of keep their calls like screened. I mean, now with all the technology they have, so that you don't have this, you're not just like totally blowing them off. Maybe an automated message, I don't know. But I did pick an additional card. And it's about discretion, basically. And I picked an additional card, and this is the Queen of Cups. And this is something that I associate with, this card is actually associated with Cancer. So I don't know if this is a new person that you have been dating or trying to date, but this other person has kind of interfered with that. The Queen of Cups is also about your psychic abilities, your sensitivity. You have to be willing to, tune into your own intuition to know what is the right next move. And if you get too emotional, you won't be able to do that. So that's why I like the King and Queen of Swords, because I think that you're learning how your emotions, sometimes they can be, great guidance, but sometimes they can be a hindrance when when you know better, when you know that somebody is not good for you, and yet you still find yourself drawn to that person. And learning how to be more detached, but also how to properly, extricate this person from your life. So anyway, Pisces, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting a double reading that I've been offering probably for the last 6 months, I think, called the Whole Enchilada, which is 2 full-length readings for a special price, full-length natal chart, with transits for the coming 12 months, and then full-length tarot reading. You can find out more information about that and other readings at the link below. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing to my channel and sharing my videos. Take care. Bye.